But we're going to kick off talking about these schools. There are currently 20 schools, all part of the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership, and they're on strike. They're in the middle of a 9-day walkout. How would you feel if you were a parent or a grandparent of a child about to do important exams like GCSEs and all the teachers are on strike and you don't know when your child or grandchild is going to go back to school? You don't know if they will return to school to complete the work they need to do ahead of taking their exams. How would you feel about that? We're going to pick over what's going on and what's likely to happen. 12 minutes past 10. So you're a parent or a grandparent and you got a child at school, maybe about to take important exams like GCSEs, but all the teachers are on a 9-day walkout or in the middle of a 9-day walkout. That's what's currently happening in the West Midlands. There's an MP for Sutton Coldfield calling for government help for a group of West Midlands schools currently dealing with strike action. Andrew Mitchell has spoken to the Secretary of State for Education about what's going on with the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership. 20 schools are currently involved in the industrial action. I mentioned this earlier on. I've had more messages about this than pretty much anything else. It's a big story. So they're in the middle of a 9-day walkout. A further 9 days of strikes are planned for February over job cuts. Here's Sarah. We spoke to her on the show last week. She's got a child in year 11 in one of these schools.
My first reaction was, OK, it's 9 days, and then trying to understand the reasons why. And that's what hasn't really been apparent to us as parents, is how we get a voice for the children. Because initially it was 9 days. Now we know it's going to extend to the 18 days. And my biggest fear is that we won't get the children back to school before their GCSEs. So the anxiety for parents of managing jobs, children at home, the anxiety of the children of knowing that they're in GCSE year, when are they going to catch up on the curriculum, how is their exams going to be affected, what compensation will be made, that's what's not clear to us. And I see teachers have the voices, but the children don't have that voice.
Tough time if you're a parent or indeed a student who's having to deal with this. Pleased to welcome Andrew Mitchell MP to the show now. Andrew, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ed.
Very nice to speak to you. What are your biggest concerns about this situation, Andrew?
Well, I'm hugely concerned for the parents and children who are the children missing out on an education, the parents often being subjected to enormous inconvenience, which they were not expecting. And also, of course, there are constituents of mine in the royal town of Sutton Coldfield who are staff at the schools who are worried about their jobs. So the whole thing is extraordinarily worrying. And I very much agree with the points that your recorded interview just made. I think it was Sarah who was making those points. So I'm seeking to make sure that the department is giving as much support as they can to resolve this matter. It's a matter which only really the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership and the union can resolve, and I call upon them to resolve their differences as swiftly as they possibly can.
What would you like to happen?
Well, I think ACAS has already been involved. And in the end, what I want to see is a continuous negotiation between the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership and the unions so that we can reach a resolution. That's what the parents in my constituency want. It's what the children need, very grave threats to their exams. I also want to see the use by the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership of the provision of learning materials, something which obviously schools became very proficient at during the COVID epidemic. And I very much hope that the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership will do everything they can to make sure that those learning materials are made available. But in the end, the people who are needed to resolve this dispute are the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership and the unions, and I hope they will use ACAS and anything else possible to negotiate a resolution as swiftly as possible.
Are you concerned at all about the fact that this trust has admitted overstaffing due to what they're calling an accounting error? Should the school not be held accountable for financial mismanagement here?
I think there will be a time when everyone should be held to account and there should be a full and transparent explanation of what has happened, and we should go through all of that. But it isn't now. Now it's necessary to get this matter resolved for the sake of the children and also the parents and the staff who are worrying about their job's future.
There's a petition as well on change.org calling for a vote of no confidence in the CEO. It's got already more than 1,600 signatures. Do you have faith in the trust?
I have faith in the importance of the trust and the unions negotiating in good faith. That's what I hope.
I'm not sure that's answered the question with respect, Andrew.
Well, the issue is the CEO is in an extremely important position. He is tasked with resolving this matter and getting the children back to school. And I don't think it's in anyone's interest that he should be undermined at this critical point. So, yes, I do have faith in him achieving a result, and I want to see him and the unions get on with doing that.
And more broadly, do you feel that these trusts do work?
Yes, I mean, the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership is spreading the immense skill and achievements of the Arthur Terry School, which during my 25 years as a Member of Parliament for the Royal Town of Sutton Coldfield, has gone from a position of mediocrity to absolute excellence. And they are spreading that out through the partnership into surrounding schools. They've already had an immensely good effect on the Royal Sutton Coldfield School. And I want to see the benefit of these trusts and a partnership spread out as widely as possible. All of us should be interested in seeing standards rising. And I think that the trust mechanism has done exactly that.
All right, Andrew, appreciate your time. Andrew Mitchell, MP for Royal Sutton Coldfield. Thank you very much for joining us live on the programme today. We're going to get the reaction to some parents from the school, see if they agree with what Andrew has to say. And I want to talk to you as well. What are your thoughts on this? Maybe you're directly affected. As I mentioned, 20 schools are currently involved in this strike action. Maybe you're one of those parents or a grandparent involved in this, or maybe you just have a view. BBC Radio WM, it's 10:22. Here's a big story that's just seems to be getting bigger. 20 schools currently involved in industrial action right here in the West Midlands are in the middle of a 9-day walkout with a further 9 days of strike planned for February over job cuts. This is the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership. We've just spoken to MP for Royal Sutton Coldfield, Andrew Mitchell, who backs the trust, but basically says both sides need to sit down and sort it out, because at the end of the day, you've got kids and parents being affected by this. We're getting a massive reaction about this. We'd love to talk to you about it as well. Maybe you're involved directly. Maybe you just have a view. 81333 to text me. Start your message, WM. Let's talk to Claire. Claire, is this right? You're a parent at this school?
I am, yes. My child is in year 11 at the school.
So your reaction to what Andrew Mitchell has just said?
Gobsmacked, I'll be honest.
In what way?
Well, he has no understanding of what's actually happening within the school. I think he's living on past reputation of the school. He's obviously only hearing one side of what is happening. I totally disagree with the teachers not being in as well. I think they should be able to resolve this maturely as adults without it impacting the children. I feel like the children are absolutely pawned in a political game here. There's no provisions for the children to work remotely. The only children that they are supporting are the children who are targeted to achieve grades 7 to 9 in core subjects and vulnerable children. Whilst I absolutely support that vulnerable children should be asked to go into school, I think that it's discrimination, favouritism, and with just looking out for the children who will most probably make them look good in the league tables.
Sorry, in what way are they supporting some children and not others?
They are asking the children who are targeted to achieve grades 7 to 9 in core subjects to go into school. So
some children are still able to go to school and learn, and these are the ones that are expected to get the highest grades?
So I've received notification that children, I understand that with the strike situation, they aren't able to know which teachers are going in that day. So what they are actually doing is cherry-picking the children who are set to achieve grades 7 to 9 to go in to do exam papers under supervision. So the children who are, still actually going to achieve good GCSE results are actually having no supervision and no support whatsoever. And I just think that actually the teachers should be all back in school and they should be dealing with this round the table without it impacting the children. I mean, the mental health, the anxiety that the Year 11 and Year 13 students are feeling right now, their whole future is hanging in the balance. And actually, whilst I understand that the primary school parents are, upset, I don't want to minimise how they feel about this, but it's a very different story for us parents who've got children who are about to face GCSE exams and A-level exams imminently when the full curriculum hasn't even been taught.
And as a parent with a child at the school, how are you feeling about it?
I'm extremely upset. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I work away from home. I'm a single parent. So my mother is with my son at the moment. I've rearranged my meetings to drive back today to supervise him and to go through papers with him, to give him the support and to also ease any anxiety and stress that he's feeling around this. They have mock exams on the 23rd of February and they've got 3 teaching days in school prior to them. They were in on Friday and they said, well, you might have them, you might not have them. This is not helping their anxiety around facing huge exams, and their mental health is suffering, and the trust and the unions may end up with blood on their hands, and I feel very strongly about it.
What do you want to happen?
I want the teachers to get back into school. I think the parents supporting the teachers, I think that's counterproductive. I think that's keeping the teachers outside of schools. I think the teachers need to go back in. They need to start teaching the children, easing the children's anxiety around this. And I think the trust, and I'm not on the side of the trust, I'm not on the side of the unions, I'm on the side of the children. The trust and the unions need to sit down and they need to have a mediator. I know ACAS is involved, which is brilliant, but they need to resolve this without it impacting the future of our children.
Really appreciate your call, and we send you and your kids all our love. Now, look, this is the statement we've got from the Trust. We are committed to tackling the financial challenges we face so that we bring stability to the Trust and schools as quickly as possible, whilst at the same time maintaining the high standards of education and care that our pupils and their families deserve and expect. Returning to a financially sustainable position means taking some difficult decisions. We continue to explore every area of expenditure and have identified numerous savings. To ensure we move forward rapidly and secure long term, we have also started a consultation on the restructure of the organisation. We are continuing to implement a programme of significant change to improve the Trust's financial position, including appointing a new interim finance director to provide oversight on how decisions are made and evaluated. Following a constructive discussion with the NEU earlier this week, we submitted a proposal which put forward substantive concessions in an attempt to resolve several concerns. However, the NEU has rejected this offer and scheduled further strikes. This is, of course, incredibly disappointing, as it means many children and young people will again not be able to attend school, which is deeply regrettable. Arrangements have been made to ensure pupils not able to go to school can continue their education, including through high-quality remote learning. We continue to do all we can to resolve this dispute as swiftly as possible, including further constructive talks with the NEU and reviewing all budgets to ensure our schools move towards a stronger and more sustainable future. Your thoughts on this, please. Obviously, it is very emotional and emotive. If you're a parent involved or if you're just a bystander with a viewpoint, 81333 to text me, or 08081 009956. We'll get more on this after 10:30. We're just talking about this school trust as well today. 20 schools currently involved in industrial action. Just how would you feel if you were a parent or even did a grandparent of a child who's about to do GCSEs and all the teachers are on strike? They're in the middle of a 9-day walkout and a further 9 days of strike action planned for February over job cuts. It's a difficult time anyway to be a parent or indeed a child when you go through this. And if actually there's no access to schools, how do you feel about that? It's making an already anxious time even harder. We spoke to the MP for Sutton Coldfield, Andrew Mitchell, earlier on, and he's calling on both the unions and indeed the school to sit down and talk about it and find a resolution.
I'm seeking to make sure that the department is giving as much support as they can to resolve this matter. It's a matter which only really the Arthur Terry Learning Partnership and the union can resolve, and I call upon them to resolve their differences as swiftly as they possibly can.
Are you concerned at all about the fact that this trust has admitted overstaffing due to what they're calling an accounting error? Should the school not be held accountable for financial mismanagement here?
I think there will be a time when everyone should be held to account, and there should be a full and transparent explanation of what has happened, and we should go through all of that. But it isn't now.
Spoke to a parent earlier on as well who said that, and we have reached out to the school because we'd like to try and work out if this is happening or not. But the accusation is that some kids are going in and they're being taught, and these are the kids that are expected to get the highest grades. So there's an accusation that some kids have been cherry-picked, and if they're expected a decent grade, they are still getting an education. But not everybody is. We're going to try and get the school side to that in a minute. In the meantime, let's speak to another parent. This is Jamie. Morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Good, mate. Nice to talk to you. So you've got a child at the school?
Yeah, I've got two children at school. I've got a year 8 and also a year 11 at Arthur Terry Secondary.
So your thoughts on what's happening there?
Well, I'm coming from a parent perspective. Firstly, on the year 11 side, my daughter, she's effectively been cut off from her education now for 2 weeks. Zero contact from the school, work that's been set, and that she's actually been told and advised that if she does the work, it undermines the strikes. She's bitterly anxious.
Sorry,
and concerned.
she's been told she shouldn't do the work because it undermines the strike action.
Correct.
Who's told her that?
Various teachers at the school have told her this, and people in her classes. So that isn't my biggest concern, actually, because most of the year 11s, they're all very concerned about getting through their work and doing as much work as they possibly can between now and their exams.
Yeah.
My daughter hasn't even finished her Spanish actual course yet, so there's pieces of a topic that she hasn't even covered that she's really worried about. And, you know, this is the most critical point in their education so far, that they need the support. She's literally cut off. Certain children are being invited into the school to do certain lessons and assessments. But
so you've heard this too. So, yeah, we heard that from a parent earlier on. It said that some kids, and these the kids are expected to do quite well in the exams, they are still being invited in for lessons. In
small pockets of hours here and hours there, and some children who have to do assessments. My daughter does assessments in both PE and food technology. Both have been postponed, cancelled. She's worried that she'll even get a mark for them. But it's the lack of communication that comes from the trust as well is a major issue. So for me, the strikes are affecting three stakeholders here: the teachers, the children, and the parents. The trust have just not engaged at all with the parents. They've literally blanked us all off from the situation, and most of the children are sat at home with their iPads that they can only use partly to do their work.
Why is that?
To get through as much
Why
as
only partly?
They limit the amount of time the children can do the work on. So the irony of these iPads causing so much trouble is they can't technically use them most of the time anyway. So, yeah, for me, my daughter at year 11, she's the one that we're most concerned about with most of the GCSEs, which is why I set the petition up last Friday to call for the resignation of Mr. Gill. I don't believe and don't agree with Mr. Mitchell that Mr. Gill should still be there. He's had many years. His job and accountabilities are quite clear. He has various stakeholders that he's got to manage and grow and nurture and take through the process. Yet all of these mistakes fundamentally lie at his feet, and he is still in place today. How many meant to change?
How many signatures has the petition got so far?
It's reached now over 27,000 people and engaged with it, and 1,700 people up to this morning have signed the petition. And these are mainly, and I can see from the people signing it, are mainly coming from the areas of West Midlands, Warwickshire, and the local surrounding areas, all the people who would be affected by the school strikes.
And talk to me about how you're feeling as a dad. You've got 2 kids at the school. I know as a dad, I mean, or a parent, it's a difficult job anyway. But what is in your mind right now as a dad of 2 kids who are not allowed an education at the moment?
I've spoken about it with my family and my friends. I'm actually heartbroken for my daughter. She's worked so hard, and yet here we are, weeks before her exams, and the trust has turned her back on her. She's anxious, she's upset, she's crying, and she wants to get the best result she can to do her A-levels. How the trust even think this is acceptable is beyond me.
Jamie, I appreciate your time. Thank you. If you want to get involved in this conversation, maybe you're a parent also affected by what's happening. Just to recap, there's 20 schools currently involved in this industrial action. They're in the middle of a 9-day walkout. There's a further 9 days of strike action planned. You've got parents not being able to learn. You've got kids not being able to learn. You've got parents concerned about the kids. You've got teachers in the middle of this as well. It's a bit of a mess with no real end in sight. 81333 to get involved on the text, or 08081 009956. You've also got accusations, as you're hearing now, of in the middle of this strike action, some children, and it's the ones that are expected to do quite well, are being invited in. So they're still getting education.